Since recording this episode, the government has released a response to the pavement parking consultation. Despite overwhelming support for a national ban, the choice was given to give powers to the devolved authority at the highest tier. For us, that's the West Midlands Combined Authority. It's not clear if they'll implement a ban at the region level, which might be difficult to sell to some council leaders, or if Birmingham itself could become a banned area. What is going to be useful is that obstructive pavement parking will become a civil offence, as currently it is a police offence, and that change will be useful so long as councils like Birmingham City Council doesn't give obstructive pavement parking a grace period. Unless the West Midlands Combined Authority can get all council leaders to agree to a regional ban, it's likely to be business as usual with rolling out parking controls on a street-by-street basis. The struggle here continues. Here follows the original episode. It's been 5 years since the Department of Transport consultation into pavement parking in England closed, and there's still no response and no action from the blight that most people want solved. Aideen Blackborough from Great Bar is a wheelchair user with cerebral palsy, and she lives in an area where she should be able to take her kids safely to school. However, every day people park on the pavements that she has to use, forcing her to go into the road to get past. These aren't narrow roads either. These aren't drivers that are forced to use the pavements, these are just habits that people have learned. It's the lack of thought by drivers that makes her life a daily danger. However, it is the lack of action from both the government and the local councils that facilitate this danger. Aideen, thank you very much for joining us today to share your story. I know you've been working with the campaign group Living Streets to highlight your experience. What is it that kind of made you finally say, right, I'm going to reach out to someone like Living Streets and see if we can tackle this?
I don't think it was one dramatic moment, but it was more the relentlessness of it. Every single day I will bring forced into the road or forced to go back on myself or just taking risks just to get from A to B. And then there was the moment where I actually tipped out of my wheelchair because a car completely blocked the pavement, and that for me was the moment when it stopped being an inconvenience.
Yeah.
And it became a genuine safety issue. I realised this wasn't a me problem. This was a design and behaviour problem, and staying quiet about it wasn't an option anymore.
Yeah. It's not just inconvenience, is it? It's his actual danger that people are causing.
It's an actual risk. And it's a risk to my life and my safety every day.
Yeah. I know. So the Guide Dog UK survey found that 95% of wheelchair users are having to be forced into the road. I mean, this is a really common problem.
Yeah.
And
I think why I felt so passionate because it isn't about me, it's about everybody that uses a wheelchair or a guide dog or even a pushchair. It's about so many people.
So how are you affected by this day to day? I mean, we talked about going to the road. I mean, do you think you could explain this in some way to the drivers who almost certainly don't know the impact that they're having?
For many drivers, I think parking on the pavement feels minor. They think, oh, I'm only gonna pop into that shop. I'm only going to be 2 minutes. And they think that's okay. That's how they justify what they're doing. But for me, it can mean I simply can't carry on with my journey. Or like I said, I have to backtrack and find a drop curve that I can get down on, or I'm forced into the road with moving traffic. So that's more choice that they make to park on the road turns the school run into a really stressful obstacle course. And like I said, it's not just wheelchair users, it's parents with buggies, it's the visually impaired and older people, and if the payment isn't usable, it's not a pavement anymore.
No. Yeah. So, I mean, I certainly remember this around, school pick up and drop off. Is that when you got the kids there, you got the parents are mounting the curbs there. I remember having to say to my boy, you can't go outside the school straight away and walk on pavement because it's just not safe, because there's people getting up onto the curb there. I mean, you've got children. I mean, you're saying you're going on a school run. You've got children you're taking to school. How do you talk to them about these dangers?
I mean, they're at an age now where they can see what's happening. They can see that I just can't get past. And my youngest boy will often comment, "Oh, Mum, you can't get past. What are you going to do?" And we talk about how the driver's actions are putting me in danger. And the kids are really aware and conscious of it. But what's hard for me is that they're seeing that danger normalised. They ask why cars are allowed to do it, and that's a really tricky question when the answer is basically, well, it's easier for the driver.
I mean, you're right. It is normalised, isn't it? It is normalised behaviour, and when you see everyone else doing it, you expect that's just what we all have to do. In the same way, you see when you only need one or two people to be the first ones to go, oh, we're parking on the road here, and everyone follows suit after that. It's yeah. Okay, we've talked about the dangers of you having to go into the road, but it is something we do also need to consider that the pavements themselves are designed for pedestrians, not vehicles, and they increasingly will become damaged by these, heavy cars driving on them. And we see this with the paving slabs all getting uneven. And these are things that then need to be paid for by the council to fix them because they become increasingly a danger for people who are using them. I mean, what are the states of the pavement near you? Do you notice that?
I do a lot. I'm dead practice like under uneven. And often, like you said, a lot of that is caused by cars repeatedly making the pavement. Pavements are built to hold the weight of vehicles. So when cars go on them day after day, they degrade quicker.
Yeah.
And for wheelchair users, small changes in level breathing matter. So a broken slab or a steep incline is not cosmetic. It can be the difference between independence and being totally stuck.
Yeah. So pavement parking, as you say, it's not just an inconvenience problem, it is an accessibility issue, and pushing vulnerable people into the road and damaging the space, it's no surprise that for a lot of people, they just can't even then leave their home. I think, obviously, we'd like people to just be more considerate, but really it is legislation that's needed to actually tackle this. In London, they've had a pavement parking ban in place since 1974. Scotland started the process in 2019, where they gave a lot of councils an opportunity to implement pavement parking bans. I know Edinburgh, with exceptions. I think Edinburgh went with a no exceptions approach. I mean, it's time to get those same protections in law for all the rest of the UK rather than just London or devolved powers of Scotland. So with that said, highways and council engineers can use traffic regulation orders or TROs. I know there is one across the whole of Birmingham, but it needs to then be enforced with signs, which cost money to put signs everywhere, and they have to be well maintained signs. So again, it's like a burden that not having a national ban puts on councils, which, as we say, are cash strapped. I mean, is there anything that you would say to your MP for the national ban or to your local councillors for implementing the TROs?
I honestly would encourage them to come and walk with me whilst I do the school run. I think in just 20 minutes they will be able to see the scale of the problem and how it impacts people like me every single day. And I would also say that if a ban in London and Scotland is acceptable and workable, then why not the rest of the UK?
Yeah.
I don't think this is radical. It's overdue. The disabled people shouldn't have fewer rights depending on their postcodes, you know.
Yeah.
I would just say to councillors, don't wait, you've got the powers to implement this. Use them now, enforce it consistently, design streets properly, and listen to disabled residents before someone gets seriously hurt.
Yeah.
Accessibility isn't optional, it's a basic right for disabled people.
Yeah, it's a responsibility that councillors, MPs, the government should be taking seriously.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's to ban pavement parking is a hugely popular policy. I mean, most people in the country want to see it happen. Yeah, quite why action hasn't happened yet is it's surprising. Okay, I think that's everything that we're looking to cover today. So I just wanted to say thank you very much for taking the time to talk to me. I would encourage everyone off the back of this to write to their councillor or MP to ask them to support, because the government is coming up with is due to be doing a review on this. Please write to your councillor and to your MP to ask them to support a ban on pavement parking throughout the UK. Thank you very much for your time, Aideen.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for listening. If you'd like to know more about the Living Streets campaign that Aideen has been working with, you can visit them at livingstreets.org.uk. There you can learn about not just their pavement parking campaign, you can also read more of Aideen's story, and you can submit images of particularly egregious parking that you might see around the place. You can also join the Better Streets campaign, where we campaign for walking, wheeling and cycling around Birmingham, and that's at betterstreetsforbirmingham.org. Thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you again next time.